and welcome back to my channel. So much for coming back if you returned, and if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Rachel. I make lots of Taylor Swift videos, talk about my Taylor Swift opinions, reaction videos, as well as unboxings and Taylor Swift like hauls and stuff. But today's video is slightly different, and essentially it's a review of the Taylor Swift V&A exhibit. So this exhibit has now closed, but I just wanted to share my opinions on the exhibit that existed for a very short time, because I have a lot of opinions on it. I wanted to film this video for a while. I originally was going to just do a vlog, so I was going to do a vlog of my experience at the V&A, but I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to share kind of my review on it later on, rather than at the time, essentially. Just because it was quite busy and it was quite loud at the place, and I didn't have my camera with me, I only had my phone. So I want to talk about that exhibit. If you don't know, the V&A, it's the Victoria and Albert Museum. It's in London, South Kensington. There are lots of museums in the area. You've also got the Science Museum there as well, and then you have the V&A. So this exhibit was not open long. It was actually only open for the August Eras Tour shows, and then it stayed open until September essentially, but it wasn't open for the June Eras Tour shows at Wembley. If you missed it, Taylor actually split her Wembley dates up. She did a total of 8 Wembley dates, 3 in June and then another 5 in August. So they were split up, and I do think it would have been nice to have the V&A exhibit open for both of these like legs of the London dates, because there were people who very likely went to the June dates who didn't go to the August dates, who were in London for the June dates, probably travelled. Obviously London is a very easy city to get around, so a lot of people do travel to London to come to concerts, and a lot of artists like to do special kind of surprises in London, so people do come to London. So it was a little bit of a shame it wasn't open for those first shows, and I also think maybe it would have made it less busy for the August shows. I did not go when the Eras Tour was on. One, because I simply just didn't have the time. Obviously it was a little bit out of where I was staying, and I had to kind of like get myself ready and stuff for the Eras Tour in the evenings and stuff, so I didn't want to spend time going to the museum. But I went after the Eras Tour. Actually, I think the day of or the day before it closed. So it was quite busy, but it definitely wasn't as busy as when the Eras Tour was on. So when the Eras Tour was on, I heard it was very busy. Now when we went, we did still have to queue, and that is probably a part that I wasn't that annoyed about. I think it was inevitable that you'd have to queue. I personally think maybe it would have been good if it was a paid exhibit, because it wasn't a paid exhibit, it was a free exhibit. The museum is free, obviously. You were free to donate at any point if you wanted to, but they do have paid for exhibits actually at the V&A, because that can just reduce the capacity. Obviously you can monitor it more, and that maybe would have made it a better experience to have it in a small area. But anyway, I'll get onto those points later on. We are finally here at the V&A. It has taken a very long time. I didn't come during the August shows, but we're finally here at the Taylor Swift exhibit at the V&A. Had a bit of a queue outside. This is the second to last day of it. There is a little QR code map behind me, and we're going to go start off with the trail, and I'm with my lovely friend Alice here. And we're very excited. Let's go! So here we are at the queue to get into the first stop of the Taylor Swift V&A trail. It looks like a really long queue, but the queues go really quickly, so I imagine it's going to be quite busy in all of the like little stops. This is the entrance there, so we went in that main entrance because it's busy, so they closed the other entrances today, because obviously second to last day. But this museum is beautiful. I have been to the V&A before, not while the Taylor Swift thing was on, but just to kind of explore the V&A, because it's just one of those like amazing museums that they have in London. It is a free museum. They do encourage donations, a £5 donation, but it is just such a beautiful place. So if you do get the chance to visit, they will probably do more exhibits like this, whether it's Taylor Swift or other kind of themed. So definitely check it out, because there are so many beautiful, amazing things. And if you're looking for like Instagram shots as well, I mean, you really are getting those like aesthetic shots with this like big arch and stuff. Okay, so they kind of separate you off into groups. They do it like in sections. We are at the first 2 of the new section. Obviously it's still a little bit busy at this first stop. The first stop, as you can see here, we've got the man outfit that Taylor wears. You've also got the facial hair and the wig that Taylor wears, and also the VMA, I presume, for the man. Did it get a man? Did it get it? I don't think the man got one, but apparently it did. So that's the VMA, that's what the VMA looks like, the moon man, as they say. And also between all of the trails, they've got this like little like invisible kind of like string, like an invisible, well obviously it's not invisible, but you know, a single thread of gold, as they say. So this is the first bit. They've also got the director's chair. Taylor has. It's really cute. You can see the details.
So Taylor Swift.
So to get to the different stops, you do actually have to go through a lot of the museum. So you go through here. So we saw that first one, which is the man, and then you're going around. You get to see all the beautiful parts of the museum as well, which is really, really great. Obviously, if you were here not for the Taylor Swift thing, it wouldn't be the most convenient with all the Swifties gathered round, but it is cool to see the other stuff as well. And then we have hit the reputation part of the exhibit. So we've got this outfit. This is the outfit that she wore during Look What You Made Me Do, as well as Endgame on the Rep Tour, and also the boots. And then these boots here are from the Reputation Secret Sessions in London. And this is stop 2 of the V&A. So that is what it looks like. We've also got them the microphone as well that she used during that part of the show. So I really love the Reputation microphones. You'll notice they have like snakes around them. They are just so cool. And then around here we've got to stop 3. Now the queue is kind of, I think with the Reputation, it's kind of dropped off the queue. The queue was really long and it took ages to get through that one section, but now we've got through to this, the 3rd stop. The queue is obviously now just walking, like they're not stopping us because there are less people here, which is quite cool. So this is stop 3. So this is the Speak Now dress, and this is the Speak Now bit. So this is Speak Now Taylor's version. This is the dress that is on the back of the vinyl. So when you look at the Speak Now Taylor's version photo shoot, this is the dress that's on there, and it is gorgeous. And we've also got some little ballet flats as well. And this room is really, really gorgeous, and there's a bit more space around this one as well, so you can get better pictures. So then for the red one, you can't actually get very near it at all, because like the floor in here, at least my friend told me the floor was damaged or like too fragile for this many people. So you're quite far away for the dresses here, but you've got the red dress there from the I Bet You Think About Me music video, and then you've got the hat from the Red Taylor's version album cover. Definitely very interesting choice to have it so far away, but still really cool to see. You can see all the close handprints, but so if you come around this way, so people, that's like the official stop, but if you come around this way, you can actually see the front of the dress. So you see the big sleeves and then also the hat there. Oh, that's good. And you actually get a lot closer. Obviously there is glass in the way, but you still get a lot closer than you can from that spot. And then you come through this and you can see the Love Story dress from the Fearless tour, I believe. So it is on top of a balcony, so you can't get that close to it from this angle. But it is really cool to see, and obviously it's very impressive to have it up there. It's quite cool because obviously on the balcony it's very, very Love Story with the balcony, so we do love that. There's just some stairs there. And behind me we have the 1989 costume. So this is from the Welcome to New York performance, and then I think she took the jacket off for the New Romantics performance for the 1969 tour, which will always have a special place in my heart. If you know, you know. And then behind me up there we've got the Love Story dress. That's a little bit difficult to see, I must admit. Not my favourite position for the dress, I think, just because it's a little bit difficult to see. And then we're going to come around here, and then we actually have the Out of the Woods dress, which I absolutely, well, not dress, Out of the Woods jumpsuit is probably a better word to say. And these ones were a bit better because the rooms are a bit more spacious. When you went around there, the rooms weren't very spacious, which I wasn't a huge fan of. It was a bit claustrophobic and quite warm, whereas here you've got a lot of space, which is much, much better. So you can just see it there. So here are a close-up of it. Jesus, sequins on the jacket. Such a beautiful costume. So this was worn during the Out of the Woods performance. There were a few different variations of this one. This is obviously this version. I'm not sure if this is the same one that I saw in New York. I'll have to have a look back on my photos or videos from last year when I went to New York. We went to a Taylor exhibit there with lots of costumes, and they did have an Out of the Woods one, but I don't know if it was this exact one because there's two that look really similar from afar. There was also a really nice black one. I think she wore once in Amsterdam and then never again. But like, that's never ever on display. So when that goes on display, I will have to travel the world to see it because I've always wanted to see that one. But this is the Out of the Woods jumpsuit from the 1989 tour. You can see the boots blend in really well as well. And then we have the debut era here. So we have the very, very iconic boots there. They are very iconic. We've got that beautiful blue dress, and then also obviously guitar. And this is not Taylor Swift, but that is Taylor Swift. So that's the debut era dress there, and it is so Beautiful. And now we're on stop 8, I believe it is. Stop 8, and we're at Evermore. So this is from the Willow music video. It is this gorgeous lace dress, and you can see like the storyboard art there for the actual music video, which is really, really cool to see as well. This is really nice, a really beautiful dress. And here we have kind of the prize exhibit, I think. I think this is the one that most people have taken pictures with and wanted to see, because it is the original cardigan from the Cardigan music video. That looks better quality than that one you might get on the merch store. But it is still really beautiful. Then they've done like a little like folklore kind of moss piano as well, which is really cool. I don't think that's the official moss piano, because I think that would be behind glass. But that is the official cardigan right there. And now we are just here looking for the back of the love story dress. You have to go through jewellery, turn left, cross a balcony and through ironworks. We asked someone because we were not going to be able to find this, but because we've gone this way, we've got to see these really cool columns. It's so impressive. It's a massive museum as well. And we went round the long way here, so we went round all the way. So the entrance for the first stop's actually over there, and if you just come down here, we got to this bit here, which is where the back of the love story dresses. So you can definitely get a better view of it here, because from where you're viewing it from where we were before, which were just those stairs down there, you couldn't really see it because it's quite far away. Obviously it's really cool that it's on the balcony, but you don't get a good view of it, whereas here you're getting a much better view of the actual detail of it. And that is what I love when you come to see Taylor Swift dresses, like at exhibits like this, to see the detail of them that you can't ordinarily see. So it is really cool to see like the lace on the sleeves and like the pattern of the dress and stuff. So it is cool when you take a little stop here. And then our final, second to last stop at number 12 here. So this is the dress from the Fortnite music video, and unbelievably it's leather. It doesn't look leather in the music video, but as you can see here really up close, it is a leather. And they've done a really good like display here as well, with like all the papers, very much like the Fortnite music video, which is so cool. And we've got a little typewriter there as well, very on brand. Okay, so my friend pointed out this very, very fun fact, I realised I'm in the way, that it is a top and a skirt rather than just a dress, and the top and the skirt were designed by two different people. So that is a fun fact. Thank you, Alice. And then stop 13 here, we have videos, and it is some videos from Taylor's childhood. So this is the childhood chapter, which is really cute, and they are all of the stops of the Taylor Swift V&A exhibit. Really glad I managed to make it down here just before it ended.
Well, let's talk about the different stops. First up, you did have to queue for a lot of the things. That was to be expected. I think if you are going to an exhibit, especially for like the biggest artists in the world right now, inevitably you are going to queue. And the queues weren't that bad, to be honest. Some of them were upstairs. However, they did have signs everywhere saying that if you needed, you know, assistance and you needed to get around the exhibits with someone helping you or anything like that, they did have signs for that, and I really, really applaud them for that. Personally, I didn't use them, so I can't comment on how good the accessibility was actually at the actual place. I personally think that it would have been nicer if it was all in one room. That's kind of one of my opinions on this. I actually went to a Taylor exhibit when I went to the Eras tour at MetLife. So in New York, they had an exhibit at Columbus Circle in one of the museums there. It was all in one room, and by having it in one room, it made it far more accessible because it didn't require going up and down stairs or going in a lift or like going all the way around a museum just to see the Taylor stuff. It was all in one place. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of that. Number one, if you have it all in one space, it can be quite crowded. You might not be able to see all of the items up close because there are lots and lots of people. One way that we combated that is that we went early morning, because it's always easier and it's always quieter early morning or at the very end of the day. If you go in the middle of the day, obviously lots of people are there at the exact same time, so it can get quite busy, so you might not be able to get photos in front of the different things, and also that they're all very close together. That can also be an issue just in terms of like looking at them and trying to get photos with them. The V&A exhibit, they were all over the museum. You were having to walk upstairs, downstairs, and some of them were honestly quite difficult to find. Even with the map, so the editorial map, we still had to ask members of staff who were working there how to get to certain points, because it was kind of confusing. And that is why I think it would have been better in the paid for exhibit downstairs, just because if you had it all in that one space, everything would be easy to find. It would be signposted where the Taylor Swift exhibit is. I personally, for me, would have preferred that. However, I did love the fact it was free. It made it more accessible to more people. That is a really, really great thing. And it got a lot of people going into the museum to see the art. And I imagine one of the reasons why they did spread it around the museum was probably because they want younger people to see this exhibit, to see all of the amazing things they have here at the V&A, and maybe come back in the future, maybe research things more, maybe want to get involved more in arts and stuff and museums and all of that. And that is completely understandable. I just think maybe there would have been a better way to do that, because in the queues for certain items, people weren't looking around. Like, I looked around like at the people around us, what they were doing. They were all on the phones. Realistically, people weren't looking at the items. If that was like the goal of moving it around the museum and having the different items around the museum, people weren't really looking at the items, especially the younger people. They honestly just looked a little bit bored. And the fact that all the stops were so far apart, again, I know a lot of people who didn't manage to see all of the stops because some of them were hard to find. And that is a bit of a shame that you couldn't do it all, and it also made it harder to do and required more time. So some people simply just didn't have the time, especially if you were only in London during the Eras Tour shows. It was a lot busier. If you have to queue up for every single part, you aren't going to have the time to do that. You're seeing videos and it's like, oh, this is really, really busy. You're not going to have time to go and see these items, and that is a really, really huge shame. So again, goes back to my point that I would have loved it in a full one space, essentially. The next thing was how close you could get to the outfits. So for some of them you could get really, really close. It was just obviously like the glass between you. You could see the outfits really up close, and that is what I go to Taylor exhibits for. I go to a lot of different Taylor exhibits. If I find out there is a Taylor costume somewhere where I'm going, I will be there. I love seeing Taylor outfits up close, especially tour outfits, which I've seen her perform in, because you get to see details you can't see when she's on the stage, and I really, really love that about them. I love seeing the close-up intricate details of some of these costumes as well, because you realize how much effort and how much like how the design is just so beautiful. So for some of the items, yes, you could do this and it was really great. However, for some of them, you couldn't get close to them. And it wasn't for preserving them or anything like that, it was for preserving the museum. That was one of the reasons. So for the Red Taylor's version little exhibit they had, so they had it separated by eras, you couldn't get anywhere near the outfits. There were two different spots you could view them. There was a big queue to see the Red Taylor's version one because it was just a window, you could look at them from afar. I will show a picture so you can see what this is like, but I was really disappointed because I was looking forward to seeing that hat from the cover because it's iconic, it's from the actual cover of the album, but you couldn't get close to it because essentially the room it was in, the floor was too fragile to have the number of people who would need to stand on it, so they wouldn't let you in the room. So you had to be so far back, and it's like, I would have a better shot and a better view of these outfits in the music videos and in the pictures than I would actually seeing them in person. And that's, for me, disappointing as someone who goes to Taylor exhibits to see these intricate details of the outfits. And also just to get pictures with them as well, because it's super cool to see them in person. So I was really disappointed about that. Like, that was probably the one part of the museum I was most disappointed about, that you couldn't get towards some of the items. Another thing is just, I don't think they were always placed in the best positions. As I said, it was difficult to find your way around this museum. There were things all about, you had to go through full exhibits to find the things. It was hard. And one of the outfits, so the Fearless one, it was at the top of a balcony. You could not get a picture with this outfit because it was on the top of the balcony. Like, it was pretty much impossible unless you had like 0.5 on. Like, it was so difficult. I know so many people are like, I didn't even realise it was there. And yes, it was great. It was well themed by putting it on top of the balcony, but if no one can get a picture with it, no one can see it up close, like, what's really the point of having it there almost? Because most people did miss it, which is a huge shame. And I think it would have been better if you had it in a space where people could actually see it and could actually see it up close. You could get behind it, but this wasn't like advertised. It was just shown for people on TikTok saying you could go behind the dress so you could see behind it. However, that's not really the same because you're only seeing behind the dress. I want to see like a full 360 if possible. So that one was another one I was really kind of disappointed with because I just personally didn't really understand it. I get it was like nice for the theming and stuff, but also, again, you go to a Taylor exhibit to actually see these items rather than seeing them in like the theming. But that was just obviously my own opinion. I'm sure people have different opinions on that. Next up, the lighting. The lighting wasn't great. So again, I'm someone who likes to look at these outfits, get good pictures of them, also get pictures of me with them, because that's kind of what's so cool of having a picture of you next to an outfit that's in a music video you love or in a performance you love. Like, I personally love that. And obviously a lot of people who were there were families trying to get pictures with little kids. The lighting was awful. Where the outfits were for most of them, the lighting, obviously, this is not the biggest issue ever, and I understand that lighting is dull in a lot of these places because there is art there that you have to preserve, but with a lot of these Taylor dresses, like I've seen them in other places, they don't have like the lights dull to preserve the dresses, and a lot of these actually aren't that old either, or I've seen some of these actually in different museums and they've not needed to have that, if that makes sense. So it's not like it was a requirement for them to be in a dark room, they just were because of the things that were surrounding them. And that was disappointing because you just couldn't get a good picture. Like, you know when your phone does that like light mode thing where it takes ages to take a picture, and because obviously there's so many people trying to get a picture at the same time, it was very chaotic. Honestly, most of the pictures I took during the day were not very good, to be completely honest, especially the ones of me and the outfits. Like, you just couldn't get a good picture with it. It was a huge shame. The Red Taylor's version one, again, because that was in a room, obviously, with like the art and stuff, that was another one where the lighting was so dull you could hardly even see them. So I think of all of them, that was the bit I was most disappointed with. Then you also, the ones that did have good lighting, so one of them was Debut, there was a woman there telling you to move on, like straight away. Even if you just glanced at the thing, she was like, please move on. This could have just been the day I had, the woman could have been having a rough day, anything like that. I completely understand that, there's no hate towards her. Obviously I never took a name or anything like that, I don't know her name, but that was disappointing. Because you couldn't look at them. I wanted to look at those cowboy boots and she was literally just like, move on, to like every single person. And I get it, you want to go through the people and you want as many people to see this outfit as possible. However, you've kind of ruined people's experience of this because they couldn't just stand there just for a moment just to appreciate it. And for every other stop of the like outfits, there was no person there telling you to move on straight away. This was the only one, and I didn't really understand that. I'm not sure if it was the location it was in. I don't think so, because it was kind of separate from the rest of the museum. There was plenty of space for other people in the museum to wander about. Yeah, that one was a huge shame, especially because that one was the one with the best lighting as well. So it was kind of disappointing that you couldn't like properly stop to take pictures. We did manage to do it. It was sad as someone who only went to this museum once for the Taylor exhibit to feel rushed and to feel essentially like an inconvenience. That was a bit of a shame. But yeah, no hate towards the person who did it. It was probably them being told that they had to move people on. But yeah, I've never been to an exhibit quite like that, especially one that's designed for like families as well. Like that was, yeah, I was quite disappointed in that. But for every other stop and every other worker we encountered, they were pretty useful, you know, they knew where the things were, which was great. But that was just the only kind of negative encounter we had. Other than that, it was absolutely perfect, you know. Most museums I go to, the staff are absolutely wonderful and they make you feel welcome. It was just this one individual. And again, could have just been a rough day. They could have maybe just encountered someone who was rude to them. I didn't speak to them or anything like that. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, please don't make blah, blah. That's not me. I'm too, one, awkward to do that, and also, like, I just know people are doing their jobs. So I don't want people to think, oh no, like, she had to go at this, but I would never, you know, people are just doing their jobs. Now, one bit that was really cool and had a really good lighting as well was the Tortured Poets outfits. The Tortured Poets outfit was really fun. They had a few details about the dresses as well, which I really liked. And what was really interesting about the Tortured Poets department, like Fortnite dress, is that it's not a dress. It's a top and a skirt. And the top and the skirt are made by different people. That was one of the most interesting things because it looks so much like a dress, and that's why I love seeing these things up close, because you can see the differences that you wouldn't be able to see on your phone when you're watching the music video, on your TV when you're watching the music video. So I did really like that. I thought that was great. The final room that you kind of go through, it was very well themed in terms of they had Taylor music playing and they had like big sheets kind of projecting Taylor's music videos on, but the lighting wasn't great. In fact, the lighting was really poor in this room. I won't sugarcoat it. It was bad. And it was clearly intentional that they'd done the lighting to make it look kind of fun and stuff by making it kind of blue. You could not get a photo with the outfit without it looking like you were a Smurf. And that was a huge shame because, again, you don't get to see these outfits often. I wanted a picture with them, you couldn't. And I don't think it helped you see the actual outfits better, because I know some people just go specifically just to see the outfits, not to take any pictures like that, just to see the outfits. That's fine. It's not like this lighting aided that in any way. I'm just not really sure if they thought it through very well. And again, this is me being really, really critical, but like, I hope that if they ever do an exhibit in the future that they can learn from the things that I personally think didn't go well, and from other people I spoke to agreed. Now, there are going to be people who watch this video who completely disagree with me, and that is okay. Art is subjective. People go see art for different reasons and everything like that, and that is one of the most beautiful things about art, that we all have our own opinions. These are just my personal things as someone who was looking forward to it and essentially left feeling disappointed. But yeah, this final room, the lighting was bad. Like, again, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It was just bad, and it was a huge shame because, again, I just didn't really understand why it was so bad, and why, like, surely they would have thought, you know, especially less so for people like me who are just taking pictures because they want to, but like for the families. I think that's the big thing for families who want to take pictures of their kids with the outfits, and they can't really do that because the lighting is so bad you can't see the child. That's kind of the main sort of concern, rather than people like me. It's more for the families. But yeah, I was really disappointed in this. Like, I think the room that was meant to be kind of like the showstopper, it was just not. And obviously it was busy. Like, that's something that can't be helped with any of these kind of exhibits. Like, that's not something I'm going to criticize at all. That room was probably the busiest because the end stop of it. But that wasn't the issue. The issue really just was the lighting in that. And yeah, overall, I love the V&A. I love the V&A as a museum. I've been to the museum outside of like the Taylor Swift exhibit. I love the museum. I personally don't think it was executed as well as it could have been. I was, to be honest, disappointed. I left feeling disappointed. As someone who loves Taylor exhibits, that was quite a surprise for me. I was expecting to absolutely love it, and I was underwhelmed. I don't know, I think the main things were the fact it was spread all over the museum. It was difficult to find things. I had loads of people in my comment section saying they couldn't find certain outfits. They didn't know that outfit was there and they missed it. And because it was there for quite a short while either, they couldn't go back to see it. I didn't like that it was only for the August shows. It would have been nice if it was also for the June shows. The lighting is probably one of the main things I didn't like, but also that you couldn't get close to some of the outfits, particularly that red Taylor's version little section, and then that Fearless dress as well. The Fearless dress I understand a little bit more. It was well themed being on the balcony, but the red Taylor's version one, I just can't understand why they put it in a room where you couldn't get to it. Like, you couldn't get anywhere near it. I just didn't really understand the point of that, to be completely honest. You're also then making the queues longer because people only can view it through one kind of window. Also making the queues longer then because people could only view it through one kind of window. So yeah, that one was probably the most disappointing of the whole exhibit. I did enjoy seeing the things. I love that they split them by eras. I thought that was really good. They also did it with like an invisible string. So they had this like gold thread, which was essentially like LED like lights through all the exhibits, which was really cool. They only had it in the exhibit. It didn't like go through the whole museum because obviously trip hazard, but I really did like that. That was a really nice touch, and that was something they did very well. Some of the outfits were done well. The Fortnite one in particular, that was probably done the best. I love that they had like it was kind of themed to the actual like music video. I think it was in a well lit space, and I really liked that. You could get up close to it, you could get pictures with it. There was also a queue also to get pictures with it, so you could get a nice picture with it, which was quite nice. So I really liked that bit. The end bit, kind of the Midnight's era bit that had the Bejeweled dress and the Eras Tour premiere dress and the VMA's dress that she announced Midnight's in, that room was poor. The lighting was just bad. I understand it was probably an artistic choice. I personally didn't like it. because you aren't able to get the photos with it that you would like to get. And obviously people are going to be like, oh, well, you go to see the outfits. But a lot of people, especially families, go to take pictures with the outfits because you see these outfits all the time in the music videos. You want to get a picture with that outfit. And also that room was quite cramped as well, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. They also only played the songs in snippets. I'm not sure if that was just licensing or whatever, like they couldn't get the license for the full song. That was a little bit unusual. But other than that, they didn't play any Taylor music throughout the exhibit. When we went, they didn't have any merch. So at the end, they did have merch from Taylor's store, which I liked. They also had merch specific for the song trail, but it was just a picture of a cat. And it just said, it didn't even say Taylor Swift, it just said like Songbird Trail or something like that. That merch was still there, but we didn't get any of that because I personally didn't think it was worth it because it wasn't specific to Taylor. But I did like that they did have the merch from the website available there. That was a nice little touch, even though it wasn't there when I went because I went at the very end of the time it was there. But yeah, overall, I was underwhelmed. I'm usually quite a positive person. I think with most things, I always take things with like a pinch of salt, you know. I think I'm quite a glass half full person, but this exhibit, I think hit the mark. I didn't hit the mark. I don't think it hit the mark. I was disappointed. As a huge Taylor Swift fan who has been to many Taylor exhibits before, I just don't think it was well done. And I understand the purposing behind some of these things. You know, they wanted people to see the art, but I just don't think it worked as well as it could have done. I didn't like that it was spread out through the museum. I love the fact it was free. It made it more accessible. However, I think all of the things up and down the stairs and all across the museum, it was just a bit messy and it just made it difficult. Even though it spreads the people out, there were still queues in like certain places and not in others. I just didn't enjoy it, which I was sad about. I love seeing the outfits. The outfits were obviously fantastic, but I just think the way they did it, personally for me, wasn't how I want to see a Taylor exhibit. But of course, if you went, I want to know your opinions on this. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Is this the first Taylor exhibit you've been to? Have you been to other Taylor exhibits? I would love to know other people's opinions on this. Like, I really, really want to know other people's opinions because for me personally and the people I went with and my friends, we all had the same opinions on it, especially about it being spread across the museum. We just didn't think that was the best. And I spoke to my friend who also went to the Columbus Circle one as well, and she preferred that, and I preferred that as well. The lighting was better there. We did go when it was quieter for that one, so I'm sure there will be plenty of people who went when it wasn't quiet, and that probably wasn't an enjoyable experience. I did like that at the V&A they were separated, the dresses. At the Columbus Circle one, they were all in big things, so you couldn't get a picture with each individual one essentially, because they were all in one kind of big, I don't know how to describe it, just big box essentially. So I did like that the outfits were separate. You know, there were things that I liked about it, don't worry. But yeah, I feel like this has been a very negative one and I'm very sorry. But it's just me being completely honest because I think that's very important. I also waited till after the exhibit was done because I didn't want to discourage people from seeing the exhibit. Obviously, I also went at the very end as well, but I didn't want to discourage people from seeing the exhibit. I wanted to post this quite a while afterwards because it's great that we're having Taylor exhibits here, and I don't want my one opinion of this to be like, oh, you know, we shouldn't have more Taylor exhibits, because we should have more Taylor exhibits, but I think there are better ways of executing them personally. But yeah, obviously, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. That'd be so cool. Sorry for being a negative Nancy. I promise I'm not always a negative Nancy. I'm usually really, really positive about these things, but this one for me just really didn't hit it. One of those things. But yeah, if you want to check out my Eras Tour vlogs from London, I have a full Eras Tour playlist that you can check out in the description below. I do hope you've liked this video, even though it's been a little bit of a negative one from me, but it is important to be completely honest, and I think people like that I'm very honest in my videos. I hope people like that. If not, oh no. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.